Welcome to Isabella for Perizzato Perego from Arpepe Winery in Valtellina. And this is Wines of Italy with me, which is Caterina from Great Wine Adventures, as every Tuesday. And Isabella today will talk about their winery in Valtellina. Also, 2 weeks ago, we had another winery from Valtellina, but they're not really in the same place, I think. They're a bit in different parts of Valtellina. So if you have any questions, you can ask them. Either you jump in or you write them in the chat, and I will also give you the website. So I don't know, do you want to start presenting yourself and the winery?
Sure. Thank you so much, Caterina. And I'm very happy to be here with all of you tonight. And so together with my brothers, we run our family winery, Arpepe, in Valtellina. So we are based in Sondrio, just the capital of Valtellina, if you like. And we are an historical family producing wine since 1860s. So we are now the fifth generation, and we just try to proceed in the same good way as our predecessor, let's say.
Okay. So I don't know, if you talk about, would you like to tell a bit about the story of the winery? Because I realized there have been a long different passages in your story as a winery with different generations and different branches of the family. I don't know if you want
to... I'm happy to start. So the company actually exists since 1860s. So just 1 year before Italy. Yes. And so as a family winery, we've been also up in a bigger dimension up to the 70s. The company used to have many more vineyards, and also we were in the past buying grapes from other people. So up to the 70s, we were only more than 50 hectares. And actually, our previous brand was Arturo Perizzatti, that has been founded by the great-grandfather that was Arturo, like our father name. But in this dimension, we've been up to the 73, when unfortunately our grandfather got ill. And our father was actually the only child working with him, with other people in the family, just interested in the money itself, but not in the business. So the dad and granddad actually decided together that the best solution in order to divide was actually to sell. So basically they sold all the cellar with the wine inside, the old brand even, that was Arturo Perizzatti, as we said, but thankfully they didn't sell the vineyards. Vineyards were just divided into the family, and it was thanks to this that our father, with his own vineyards only, a few years later decided to start again. So nowadays we are much smaller than what we used to be. So we have 13 hectares only. And having sold the brand, we couldn't use our previous name anymore. So that's why I created a new brand, Arpepe. So that stands for Arturo Perizzatti Perego in short. And thankfully, our father was able to rebuy the part of the cellar where we are in that is actually all dig into the mountain in perfect condition of humidity and temperature, very constant, and it's just ideal for aging the wines. And so it's just fantastic to be there and still in the old cellar. So part of the old cellar, unfortunately, is not existing anymore, but what we have left is amazing, and we keep using that in great form, let's say.
Okay. So if you talk a bit about the typical traits of where you are in Valtellina, what is the microclimate, the specific traits of the terroir, and how it influences the wines that you're producing?
Yeah, the valley is very special. So even if we are up in the north of Lombardy, so just around the Alps, so it's a long east-west valley surrounded by very high mountains, the Alpi Retiche, that are around 3,500, 4,000 meters, and the one in front, the Alpi Orobie, that are actually slightly lower, so in between 2,500, 3,000. So it's a long east-west valley, at the end of Lake Como, so it's very much well mitigating the climate of the region, because it's really giving us a very, I mean, as we said, warm winter, and also not too strong summer at the same time. Some problems?
No, I'm just tweeting, so I'm listening to you. If I'm a bit
no.
not because I'm listening. I just
no, I was just fearing there were some audio problems.
No. It happens.
No, that's good.
You were saying.
And so we do really have a very special climate. And also being East-West Valley, only the north side actually facing south is with vineyards, while the north part facing, the south part facing north is actually without vineyards. And it's more famous for cheese making rather than for producing wines. Okay. So let's say most of the people live actually on the sunny side of the valley, and the other part of the valley is actually with less people and less villages, and of course very, very little wine. Not
true.
And as I'm pretty sure most people might know, but the vineyards are all very, very steep. It's all terrace, and really those terraces have been created really destroying the rocks on the mountainside, making dry stone walls, and then filling up with the soil of the bottom of the valley, the soil of the river, which is very much fragmented rocks, very sandy, very mineral. So it's a very special soil, with a very good drainage as well. And so we are very lucky that Nebbiolo has been really has been probably born even in Valtellina, because there is this serious possibility that Nebbiolo was actually in Valtellina before that it was in Piedmont. And this is something that is going on studies through the Siena area in Turin, together with Fondazione Foianini in Valtellina. So they found out that in Valtellina there is much more biodiversity of clones, rather than in Piedmont. There was basically two, Lampia and Miquette. And in Valtellina, even some plants that we thought were autochthon plants, they are actually genetically related to Nebbiolo. So they could be predecessors, but it's so interesting and intriguing, all of this.
No, it's very interesting, because also I think it was Marco 2 weeks ago who also talked about this, that they're talking about that the Nebbiolo was born or originated in Valtellina rather than in Piedmont.
Yeah, that's a genetic point of view, so it's not.
Okay, so I'm just going to say hello to some new people. So hello to Lee, Chris, and who was the other? I think Heidi again. So we're talking to Isabella from Arpepe, and if you have any questions, just write it in the chat, or if you want to jump in, I can unlock the seat.
Hi everybody in the meeting.
So Chris is listening from the beach, I think, somewhere.
Oh, poor guy.
The Whining Hour is also listening from the beach. I think in
wow.
in Long Island or something. No, I don't know where she is. I think she's. Anyway, so you were talking about the specific traits of the Valtellina Valley. So how does this the soil and the microclimate that you talked about, how does it affect the wines? What characters does it give to the wine?
Yeah, as we were saying, so the vineyards are really been built on the rocks of the mountain. And the soil is very much fragmented rocks, very sandy. It's an acid soil, very poor in a way, that gives to the wine such a lot of minerality, which is really getting such a great, easy to drink of the wine itself. And so it's very special for giving a lot of floral notes to the wine. because of being so lighter, if you like, in comparison to the soil that we actually have in Piemonte, where it's mainly clay, and so our soil is very much different and with a different pH as well because it's an acid soil. And being so special, we might see that the color is slightly different also to the ones, slightly paler, but a bit more bright sometimes, a bit more, as I like to say, it's sort of a crystal clear in a way, and bright ruby.
Yeah, I noticed that actually when I was there in May, that the color is a bit more bright. So, do you have any questions? Just ask, because I think she's ready to answer whatever you want to know. So I think Lee was there in April in Valtellina, right?
Okay.
She's a blogger from north of New York, I think Long Island.
Oh, fantastic. And did she visit us as well?
Yes, she went to Valtellina, Switzerland. What winery did you visit? You didn't visit Arpepe. Let's see what she says. Oh, anyway, I think she will reply.
Yeah, no problem.
So we were talking, I don't know, do you want to say something more about the area, or do you want to talk about your wines? You can pretty much choose.
Well, we can keep talking also of the area. So I think also what is important that in Valtellina, so if we should put linear all these incredible amount of dry stone walls, we should reach 2,500 kilometers of walls, which is unbelievable. It's twice Italy, so it's really amazing, and it's really just incredible. A massive work of generations and generations, and we really need to do our best trying to protect all of this for the future. And that's also why we are working, trying to insert all of this with the terraces into UNESCO heritage, and we really hope to be successful because they could bring more international awareness to the area, and it would be very important for all of us, for sure.
Yes, that's true. She went to Aldora in Noldi.
That's good. So you tried
so
some of them. Yeah. We'll be waiting for you.
So there was a question from Chris, but I think we're coming to that. Which are your best-selling wines? But I think you're going to talk about the wines in a while, so we'll answer your question in a short while. Do you want to start talking about your wines now, or do you want to say something?
Yes, we can start talking about the wines and the way we work. So basically, we work very traditionally because we really like to, our Nebbiolo express its best, mainly through long aging, when the year is it's great. And we try to be very focused, of course, in the quality of the grapes that every single vintage is going to give us. And before the harvest, of course, we are very careful. So on top of the analysis on the grapes itself, we also do a very much careful tasting of the grapes, try to understand which part is more mature, which part is less. And so we decide from our 13 hectares total that's the size that we have today. And we have actually 9 hectares in Sasella, 3 hectares in the Rumelo area, and 1 hectare only in the Inferno. So basically from our full picture, we decide where to start from according to all the elements that the vintage is providing us. And normally we do dedicate the lowest part of the vineyard. So vineyards are actually going from 300 meters, the bottom level of the valley, up to 600 meters. And in between this range, we normally dedicate the lowest part, in between 300 up to 400 meters, to our Rosso di Valtellina. So even our Rosso di Valtellina is normally made from our Valtellina Superiore di Ossicini vineyard. It's just our way of working to try to have a wine a bit more ready to drink, but from the part that are actually maturing first. And normally, the lowest part are the first to be picked. And for the Rosso di Valtellina, normally we do quite a short maceration. Everything is fermented in big wood tank, 50 hectoliters, so 5,000 liter, and everything is fermented there. The Rosso normally does a very short maceration, around 5 to 10 days maximum. That's the average. And after that, we normally do 9 to 12 months in big wood and at least 1 year in bottle, or 6 months minimum in bottle before being released. And the Rosso is the one you can see on the there
on the wall.
On the wall. So it's the.
I've been drinking the one with the red label. The orange.
Yes, that one with the red label. Yes. And that's for the Rosso. And then normally with the elevation in between 400 up to 600 meters, we will either decide whether we are going to do a very long aging or a medium aging. It's all depending really on the quality of the vintage itself. So let's say if the vintage has a softer skin, so we will have a quicker extraction and everything will be ready sooner probably. Tannins will be probably a bit more gentle. And then normally we do 15-20 days maceration in the big wood, then normally 2 years in the big wood, and at least 1 year in bottle before being released. Well, instead, when the year is really exceptional, if we have perfect skin, perfect thickness, perfect maturation, very crunchy seeds as well, we normally really enjoy to do very long maceration. We can reach up to more than 50, 70 days, even more. And then at least 4 years in the big chestnut barrel, because we do dedicate our eldest chestnut barrel to the best Reserva wines. And then minimum 3 years in bottle before being released. That's our way of working.
That's impressive.
I see some comments now.
Yes, they like the wall display. I wanted to ask if are you organic or as a winery?
So we try to be as close as possible to this. The trouble is that in Valtellina, being everything manual, so we didn't speak before about how we work, but it's 100% manual. So basically we have 1,500 hours per hectare per year, which is minimum 3-4 times more than the hill working. And even all the treatment needs to be done manually. And just to give you an idea, it takes 2 days with about 10 people to treat 13 hectares properly. So basically, it's a lot. And if we should be organic, probably we should dedicate 2 days per week during all the season, and then it will be probably impossible unless we employ 20 people instead of 10. But then what's going on with the prices at that point? And that's the problem. So we try to be as much close to this. We are doing the so-called integrated agriculture. So we try to limit as much as possible all our chemicals. And we also have, the grass everywhere. And we, of course, it will be much easier to work with herbicides, but we don't like that. And so we work with grass as well. And this is an extra work because you need to do like a garden. So it's not that you can enter with there's no machinery that you can enter with into the vineyard. So only your legs, and that's all. Some people sometimes...
that's a bit complicated to do all the composting and mulching. Then, because
exactly. So
slow it down, you don't know what to do with it. So
no, it's really a lot of work, and that's the only way. That's the only way to work, and it's so hard to be organic because that means that you have to be even faster, but you cannot be faster because you cannot have so many people working there at the same time. And
no, that's true.
Yeah, we are already far too much at a limit in terms of labor per hectare, and that's the reality, and we have to face with that.
So there should be special rules for people who are winemakers in mountain parts of the...
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know, because I think if the rules are made for normal wineries, I guess it's not as easy to apply it in places like the Dolomites or the Valtellina or other mountain areas.
Yes.
I hadn't thought about that actually. I just asked out of curiosity. I hadn't thought about that. It is a huge problem because the work is a bit different than in a normal winery. But in a winery that is on a hill or.
Yeah, of course. If it should be, I mean, if it should be easier, we won't even think about 1 minute, and we would do that. But the reality, unfortunately, is a bit different. And,
so Chris wasn't there in the beginning. He asked if you are a family winer, which you are, because
yes.
you reinvented yourself after that you had sold the original family winery in the 80s. So
yeah, the truth is that so it's not been sold completely because the vineyards were kept to the family, and that's why our father was able to start again with his own vineyards only. So basically, we changed, if you like, the size of the company, but we are still the same family that used to be before. And then, thankfully, together with my brother, so we proceed. So we. It's a good teamwork, and we try to follow different aspects. And I think it's so important to keep going in this way to maintain the family wineries and really knowing the essence of our wines from the very beginning. We just try to proceed in the right way. Then, of course, we try to improve wherever we can. And there are always possibility to get better, but that's what we try to do as well. And we stick to our roots, if you like.
Well, that's a good choice. Okay, so Lee says that she remembered the turnstile from April, and that they also told her that you do the hand picking and manual labor in the vineyards. So I don't know. Do you want to talk about a bit about your wines, the different labels?
Yes.
So more into you can also choose a couple of them. It's not that you have to analyze all of them here. But I think people are curious about your wines if they don't know you already.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people here aren't that familiar, perhaps, still with.
Yes, so apart from the rose that we spoke about, so we are more famous and more known for Sassella, considering that we have 9 hectares in total in Sassella. And then we have 3 hectares in Brumelo and 1 hectare only in Inferno. So for sure, Inferno is the less known of our wines because we always used to have very little bottle and not very easy to go around. So, but that's something. So Sassella, in Sassella area, we actually have basically 3 single vineyards. We have the Rocciosa, the most famous one. That is the one that you can see here, close to we see. First of all, also, I just want to start. We do actually make 2 different shape of bottle. We do make a Bordelaise bottle for our youngest wine, and we do Burgundy bottle for our best vintage, if you like, the single vineyards one. And so you can see here behind me, so we have the white label, it's our Brumelo Riserva, then the black label is the Rocciosa one, the gold one is the Vignarigina, that is also Sassella, single vineyard. And then here we do have our Ultimi Raggi vineyard, which is also the top part of our Sassella. And basically, when the year is so exceptional, as we were saying, with a perfect skin, perfect maturation, everything is really as we would dream about it. We enjoy to vinify separately and to get the best results from each single vineyard. And when the vintage is so exceptional, you really have such a great detail of each single vineyard and vintage. And so we really like to see how they are growing together and side by side into each single barrel. And you have to be very patient, because you know that when you do very long maceration, you will see a lot of changes through the aging. But it's nice to see them growing like kids in front of you, and you check them sort of regularly and trying to understand what's going on. And it's interesting also to see the difference in between Grumello, Sassella, and Inferno. And even if the type of soil is not that much different, because the soil is very much fragmented rocks, very sandy in all the three subzones. In Grumello, there's slightly a little more deeper soil, rather than Sassella and Inferno is much more rocky. So normally in Grumello, you always get wines that are a bit softer, a bit more round, ready to drink, prompt, even if they are younger or even in the eldest version, if you like. While instead, Sassella and Inferno get always a bit more austerity and minerality and a bit more bite in a way. And so sometimes you need to be a little bit more patient with Sassella and Inferno, just because they need a little more time to get smoother in a way. And so normally, I mean, for beginners, probably they might prefer Grumello at the first taste, because probably it's a bit more ready to drink and ready to approach. And in a way, Sassella and Inferno can be a little more for advanced consumers. They might be a bit more prone to Nebbiolo, and then because can be a little bit more, I don't know, sharp in a way, but I like to see the different personalities in between the single vineyards and the single area at the same time. And yeah, sorry.
There's a question. Which is your favorite wine of the wines that you produce, if you have a favorite?
You know, that's a very good question, but they're a bit unfair because they are all my kids, and you love them all, of course. So it's really depending on what I'm having for dinner or lunch, and what is your mood of that day. Then you might decide to choose one or the other one. It's all, but of course I like them all, and I love the different personalities, and then again, it's really more a question of what I'm doing.
So Chris also asked, with this more drinkable and easy approachable Grumello, sorry, what would you pair with, what food would you pair with Grumello?
Well, Grumello, I mean, they are all very easy to pair. I mean, it's more what you like to enjoy with food. That's something I love with Valtellina wines in general, and also our wines, especially with the special reserva, where being so mineral and easy to drink, you can really experiment as you like. And we like to pair with local cuisine, but at the same time we like to experiment even with fish, for example, like something even lake fish or river fish or sea fish. I mean, you can really do experiment as you like, and at the same time, they can be very good either with more special meat, like game meat. This is more for the crude wines you like to taste with special meat like game or anything else. But also, because the Grumello is super gentle, you can even try with some rabbit or some nice chicken or something not too aggressive and not too strong, very delicate. Even vegetable meals. I mean, even vegetarian meals can go very well, because you can have good pasta and vegetables, and it can go absolutely well. So it's more what you feel like having that day you can really experiment and pair with what you like.
I think they're always interested in spicy food, and I think Marco also 2 weeks ago said that one of their wines, he had tried it with Mexican food, and it actually went well with very spicy food. So do you think that Grumello would be able to pair with more spicy international food?
Yeah, I think they go very well even with spicy food, either Mexican, Indian, and again, is this very, very good acidity and freshness, because all our wine has a great acidity and freshness and a lot of minerality. So you can really pair. I would probably suggest something younger with strong spices. So either our young or Brunello or even Sasella or Inferno. I guess they would go perfectly with a bit more spicy food. Maybe try to serve it slightly cooler, as we many times advise. So we always suggest to serve at a sort of a 15 degrees temperature. That's our advice all the time. And I think it's so interesting, even pairing with fish, to try to serve it cooler. That's always a point I always very strongly suggest.
So Lee said that she tried Sasella in Inferno. I think that she bought with veal, and I think she liked it.
That's good.
They're very into pairing wine and food, so they always ask about that, which is interesting. If you have any other question, also Danielle, if you have any questions, because Danielle normally asks more about the vinification process, being a wine producer himself. So, anything you want to add about your wines?
Maybe some ideas about the name as well of the wine.
Yes, that could be interesting. Yes.
So let's start with the Rocherose, which is probably the most known. It's called Red Rocks because in Sasella area, in this part, it's a 4 hectares in Sasella with this single vineyard, and it's very rich in ironstone. So that's why Red Rocks. And you always get a bit more bloody notes, a bit more, bloody and a bit more darker notes in our Sasella. Vigna Regina instead is called Vineyard of the Queen, so it's been always delivering some excellent results, probably as a single vineyard, and it's very special. Being, even if it's just close by, it's just 1 hectare, while Rocherose it's 4 hectares, as we said, and it is actually very mineral, very small single parcel, but less ironstone, very mineralic, very small quantity of soil, super extra minerality, a lot of freshness, but a bit more lighter in a way, while the Red Rocks brings a little more darker notes in a way. So some people used to say that Rocherose is a bit more masculine in a way, while Vignardina is a bit more feminine in a way, a bit more delicate. But then it's all up to you, whatever you desire and what you like. And the Buon Consiglio instead means good advice, and is the name of the chapel dedicated to the Lady of Buon Consiglio, just at the entrance of our road, that is named Buon Consiglio. And so we basically dedicate to her our single vineyard in Grumello. And Ultimi Raggi is our late harvest, but it's not a sweet wine, don't get me wrong. It's just late picked, if you like, from the top part in Sasella. It's 600 meters. And this wine can be made only in the years like in the best vintage, as we were saying, where we can make our best single fruit. And on top of that, the weather needs to stay good 1 extra month, because if our normal harvest is around mid-October, normally we do in mid-end November the harvest for Ultimi Raggi from the top part of Sasella. So when we are lucky, we do 3-4 times in 10 years this wine. So it's a very small production. and it's just 1 hectare again. And what I would like to explain that if you're going to see these Burgundy bottle and those labels, you're not going to see the youngest labels, the same vintage. That's because the grapes are actually coming from the same vineyard. And when the year is a bit, let's say, prompt with the softer skin, and as we said, we will be doing a medium aging. In that time, we do not really appreciate the single detail of the single vineyard, but it will be more the character of the vintage itself rather than the single vineyard. And that's why, for example, in other vintage, like the one we are currently selling now for the young version, that is 2011, it's going to be blended, the 3 single vineyards into that one. And then that is going to be our Stasella Stellaretica. Stellaretica because of the Stella Alpina, the Edelweiss that it's on the labels, and Retica because it's from the Retic Alps where our vineyards are on. So it's a fantasy name, but has a meaning for them. And then we have the young Grumello that is called Grumello Rocca de Piro. Grumello area with the Grumello castle on top. The Piro was actually the family owning the Grumello castle until it was a private property, let's say. And we actually dedicated to this our young Grumello in a way.
Yeah.
And then
I was just reading. I was just looking at the article by Lorenzo.
Yes.
To check up if he was. No, I'm joking.
No, he did a great job. So I'm also thanking him a lot for visiting us, and yeah, it was a great meeting.
No, he's great. So Chris asks if you are the great brain behind all the names, or if you decided it together.
To get a family project. So our dad was thinking to the name earlier, and then mom also gave a great addition to it, and then we are also working on that regularly. There will be also new addition to the family soon, but I won't say anything because they are still, all in our brain. But there will be something new coming soon.
Okay, thank you, Jen. I think she's leaving us now because she has to do some work. What did I want to ask? You don't do any sforzato, or is that only certain areas in Valtellina that you do sforzato?
Well, Sforzato is a very good wine, made like the Amarone, drying the grapes under the roof. But it's also a wine where sometimes it's a bit harder to check the terroir detail to us. And that's why we don't make it. And we make instead Ultimi Raggi, which is a late picking wine, but where you get a little bit more of extra, in a way of extra maturation, but you still maintain a lot of freshness and acidity. And actually, from the way we work, that we don't cut the bunch, but we let the grapes still work into the plant, we end up with the wine that is more rich in sugar, so at the end in alcohol, and then of course with higher acidity. And so this is something we like a lot because it's a bit more balanced, and balance is something we look for. And we do not have too much, in a way, it's not too much alcohol, and it's still a wine that you can really enjoy with food a bit more easily than Sforzato sometimes. It's fantastic, for example, with a great American steak, I would say. Great summer wine, in a way. Serve it with great barbecue food.
So I haven't tasted Ultimi Raggi. I still have to. I have only tasted 2 of your labels, I think.
Yeah, Ultimi Raj is it's a bit more difficult to find around because it's a small production as well. But that's in a way it's the strongest wine that we are making, the big boy in a way.
That's interesting. So I don't know. I think people often want to know where they can find your wines abroad. I guess here most people are in the US. So
we've been doing a lot of work in the past few years to get our wines a bit more available in the US, and for sure New York, California, Washington DC, Chicago does have all the wines available, but we have also some new markets on board recently, like Virginia, Florida with Miami especially. And we just have Minnesota recently. We do have Washington State as well, and Oregon. So Texas is also going great. So here and there.
Generally a great wine area, I think. A lot of people are selling those in Texas.
Yeah, so I think we are trying to do our best in order to do and to keep our wines traveling here and there a bit more. But US is a very interesting market. I keep traveling there at least once a year, sometimes twice. So I'm doing my best to try to spread the word of Valtellina here and there.
So what's the best time of the year to visit your winery, Chris asks?
Well, every season it's very nice in Valtellina, so it's really depending whether you're a skiing person, you prefer to do trekking on the mountain. So every season has its own beauty, and of course there are different specialities each season at the same time, and it's not a season that it's more easy to welcome people at the same time. It's just a matter of arranging visit and organize things rather than So.
Well, if you don't like skiing, spring is a nice time. I think May, June sounds quite nice.
Well,
but then if you like skiing, I guess the winter is the best time. So.
Yes, of course. It's a very nice valley. You can do a lot of things, and having the lake so close, you can do trekking, from free gliding. You can do many things. So it just depends what you are more interested into.
True. So, any more questions for Isabella? I think we have learned a lot about Valtellina.
We also probably didn't speak about the cuisine of Valtellina. Maybe we should say a couple of words about it.
Yeah, of course.
So Valtellina, it's a bit remote area, not known for everyone, but we do have a lot of buckwheat food, which is quite unusual, like the French crepe, salty crepe. And so we do have a lot of buckwheat polenta, we do a buckwheat pasta, some delicious buckwheat frittelle in a way that we call chat, and with cheese inside. Very rich food, a lot of butter, a lot of cheese, and a lot of game meat as well. But then because of the lake and because of the rivers, we also have some nice, interesting fish. And Valtellina is also very famous for cheese. The most famous cheese are the bitter cheese, made only during the summertime on top of the mountain, and the Valtellina casera cheese. That is a very special, both very special, and bitter is more for enjoying on his own, doing little vertical cheese, pairing the wines. And Valtellina casera is a bit more used into the kitchen with different recipes. But it's a yummy ballet too.
No, there's a lot to discover. There's a lot of great food. It's very, very heavy food sometimes, but it's very good food.
You know, you have to work hard, so that's why.
To do a lot of work in the vineyards. So I also like the yogurts. I like the yogurts of Valtellina better than the ones
Yeah,
if you want.
there is
even if I'm not.
Yeah, it's true.
Perhaps I shouldn't say it, but I liked the Valtellina yogurt better.
Yeah, there is a lot of work on milk and good products as well. Yeah.
Mm. So, Chris and Lee, do you have any questions here? Heidi for Isabella? I think these are typical regional pairings, which the wines go well with in any case. The shot and the, what is it called? The pizzoccheri?
Pizzoccheri, yes, the buckwheat pasta. It's like buckwheat tagliatelle with, again, cheese, potato, cabbage, and deep fried butter on top. You'll be getting very yummy.
True.
All too hungry.
Yes, it's very yummy, Chris. So you all have to come here, and then we have to do a tour of Valtellina. So I think we covered most of the things. Do you want to add something about your winery that you want people to know? And I think if you ever come to Italy, you can just write her if you want to visit Alpepe Winery, which is in Sondrio, so it's not that far from Milan.
Yeah, it's only 2 hours north from Milan. It's just about 1 hour from Lake Como. So we keep having people visiting because they are by the lake as well, or they are just passing by to go to Switzerland. So it's a bit far away sometimes, but it's not that far away. It can be easily connect through Milan and Bergamo area as well, through our closest airport, and again, it's a very special valley. There is a great potential for growing a little bit more. We are not as known, of course, as Alba, for example, in terms of wine and cuisine, but I think we can do our best and let people enjoy. And every time people are coming, they really fall in love with the region. So they might come for a quick taste, and then they might decide to come back for holidays, a real one at least.
That's true. So yes, Lee, if you come back to Italy, we can go and visit Isabella and Arpepe, because I think you come a couple of times a year. Chris is thanking for the time today and you're telling about your winery. So
my pleasure.
So I think we can end it here because it was very interesting, and I think we learned a lot about Valtellina today, which I said again is other part of Valtellina than the Mameta Pregostini. And Lee will be back soon, so we might come and visit you.
Good.
And for those of you who wants to try their wines, they are in the US in different places, so I think you can find them, or you just write to Arpepe themselves, to Isabella and ask, and I think they can help you. I tried two of the wines, I think, and they're very interesting, so I recommend to try and find them also if you're abroad.
Thank you.
So thank you, Isabella, for
thank
your
you,
time. And thank you all who were here today, Chris, Lee, and all the others who were here before, Heidi and the others. And I hope to see you all soon again. And I will put the video on YouTube tomorrow, and then you can use it as you want to.
Thank you so much. We will be sharing with our friends as well.
Yes. I will tag them all in a tweet and on Facebook, so then you can check them out better. So thank you all again. Thank you, Isabella, and have a nice evening. And thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.